Hey everyone, welcome to another review room webinar. Today we're going to be talking about step 2, which is the competition workflow. So now that we're on this step, if we scroll down a bit, we can see some interesting details about the structure of this setup. So there are a couple of rounds. So if I minimize this, you'll see that we have a nomination round, a pending review round, a winners round, and a nominations not accepted round. So basically the idea is that the nominations start here in the nomination round. They move on to the pending review round. So this is the round where all the judging will take place. And as you can see, there are some tasks for reviewers, and they're going to be doing their reviewing. And finally, some people will make it to the winners round, and some people will make it to nomination not accepted. So the idea is that people start here, they move here automatically. You do the you basically do the reviewing here, and then based on that, you as the admin move some people to winners and some people to nomination not accepted. Now let's take a look at the details. If I click on nomination round to expand that, you'll see that there are a number of different groups, and each one of these groups have different tasks. So the first thing, let's take a look at task for leadership award nominator, right? So they're going to fill out a form, they're going to ask for an endorsement, they're going to ask for a second endorsement, then they're going to upload some supporting documentation, and then they're going to click on the submit button. Same thing for achievement award, same thing for gold achievement award, innovation award, and basically Larry K. Wilson award. So all of those are the same. They have pretty much the same tasks. And if we wanted to add in any new tasks, we just scroll to the bottom and it says add a new task, and then we can choose a group that we want it to fit under. So let's say if you wanted that particular group to have a new task, maybe you want them to upload a video, you could choose that, click on create task, and then it'll basically take you there and you'll be able to specify the details. There's also another group here which we didn't talk about, which is the recommender group. So the recommender group is basically going to come in, and they have the option of completing a form, an endorsement form that we've created in advance, or uploading an endorsement letter. So they're going to do one or the other. So that's with respect to the nomination round. Fairly simple. If you want to drag and drop things, switch things around, you could just do that. I'm just going to reverse it back because I like the order. But if you want to delete a task, you could click delete. If you want to duplicate a task, you could duplicate it. And if you want to add new tasks, you could do that. Now, what I would recommend is that once your competition has started accepting nominations, that you not change the structure too much, because it can cause some issues later. So once you're comfortable with your structure, make sure to test it out as an applicant, test out the process. If you're comfortable with everything, leave it as is. And again, this is fairly standard structure that we've set up for these awards, so you can also not edit anything either. So that's pretty much it with the design competition section. You'll notice that winners and nomination not accepted, there are no tasks in these particular rounds or stages, and the reason for that is that they're really more like buckets that we're going to place applicants in once they pass a certain stage. If they're winners, we're going to put them here. If they're not, we're going to put them here. And they're just more for classification than anything else. So there's no tasks to be done by those applications. So hopefully that gives you a good overview. If you do want to learn a bit more about this section, you can also click on here in that bubble where it says need help, click here, and that'll give you some more information in another video that I'll talk about these things in more detail and from a more generic perspective rather than a specific IEEE perspective. So with that said, again, you could just leave this as is and not modify anything. It's fairly standard, but if you want to modify something, you could do that. And if you want to modify anything in particular, like let's say if you want to modify that task, you could just click on it and it'll take you to the details page and you can modify it there. So with that said, let's go to the next stage, which is set up forms. Now if I click on next step, set up forms, it's going to take me to this particular page. And this page will list all of the different forms that I'm using in this particular review room. So you'll notice that for each one, I'm able to, for example, complete an endorsement form, and this is a task for the recommenders. I can edit this form, I can analyze it, I can export the results, I can preview it. So let's go ahead and preview it to see what it looks like, first of all. That's not a bad idea. Okay, it's fairly simple. First name, last name. How do you know the nominee? Provide any details, blah, blah, blah. So that's how you preview it. And now let's say that you wanted to edit it. Okay, so if you click on edit, then you're going to be able to see the details of this particular form. Now the good news is this is a very powerful form builder known as Fluid Surveys. You can actually get some more details about this form builder in fluidsurveys.com. And the idea is that it's all very simple to use, drag and drop. So if you wanted to move this up, you could do that. If you want to move it back down, you could do that. If you wanted to throw in new question types, you just go to the questions tab and you have options of choosing from a whole bunch of different questions. And the goal is you click and drag over, so I can click and drag a new question over here, and then I can modify the details on the left. So for example, you can say provide us with more details. And let's say if you wanted to expand this, you could go to display and say multi-line, and then that'll allow you to do that. You can click that X button, it'll get rid of the question. If you want to add a new question type, let's say a drop-down question, you can drag that in, and it'll allow you to modify the details. So this is a fairly straightforward form builder. Drag it onto the right, modify the options on the left, and you're good to go. Make sure to press the Save button. You'll notice that this particular survey has one page, but if you wanted to add more pages, you could click on this plus button, and this is going to add another page. You could drag in some questions here, right? And you could then select multiple questions at a time. Let's say you don't want these anymore, you can right-click and delete them. And if you don't want page 2 anymore, you can click the X button, and it'll get rid of that page. So very flexible. You also have option for branching logic and skip logic. And if you do want to learn more about this tool, and there's anything you're trying to do that you just can't figure out, what you can do is go to fluidsurveys.com. So that's FLUID surveys.com. And if you go to the help/contact section at the top and scroll down, there are a whole bunch of YouTube videos again that'll talk about the different aspects of this software. Again, you probably won't need it. This is just an FYI. So let's just go back to our other page, which was here, and we can talk about the rest. So this gives you an idea about the forms. I'm going to click on Back to Forms, and this is going to take me back to my forms page, and you can see the other forms that are here. So one of them is forms for Gold Achievement Award nominator, right, or form for Achievement Award nominator. So these are pretty much the same forms, but the idea is that if you wanted to edit them, you could again go inside and make some modifications. So this is the standard stuff that we've put in. And again, you could just not modify anything, and by default, this stuff should apply. But if you wanted to, you could make the changes. So I'm going to click on Back to Forms, and we'll call it, and that'll be pretty much the end for this particular tutorial. It should go over everything that you wanted to hear. One more thing I should mention is in the pending review round, you'll notice that there's also a form for the reviewers that are going to be doing their ranking. So you may have a more comprehensive ranking process, but what we've done is we've just set up something very simple, which just says, allow the reviewers to rank from 1 to 5. So pretty simple stuff. Let's go back to the forms. And so that's actually it for this particular tutorial. The next step is pretty much the final stage in the setup. And we're going to talk about that in the next tutorial. And in the next tutorial, we're also going to be launching this review room, so it should get you going and start accepting nominations. So thanks very much, and we'll see you in the next tutorial.